laughing here. I didn't think I was gonna cry. I was trying. This is a safe space.
Okay, and welcome to Redefining the Podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's really great to have you. Like, your energy is everything.
Thank you.
It really is. And meeting you, it's like I've known you forever.
I know.
You know how some things are just easy?
Yeah.
I love it.
Thank you.
I love it. So, y'all, we have Jenna here, and she is so amazing, and she has such an amazing story. A couple months ago, we were taking submissions for podcast interviews, and Jenna was one of the people who submitted. And I'm reading her submission, and I'm like, wow, she's really amazing. And initially, which we'll talk about later, but you spoke about your best friend passing. And I said, well, you know, I would love to hear how you healed from that. Maybe we can do redefining grief or redefining healing. But then when I was doing research about you, and I was telling you I found your Voyage ATL interview, and I said, oh, hold up. I said, she really has a story of just overcoming. And on this podcast, it's a platform and it's a safe space for women who are in processes of healing and rediscovery. And I'm like, this is the whole story of healing and rediscovery. So we're going to redefine purpose, because through everything that you experienced, you still were able to find purpose. So just let us know, who is Jenna? Who are you? Explain to the people why I am so excited to be doing this interview.
So again, thank you so much for having me. Thank you for inviting me to your table. I'm like, my heart is just super full.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. But I'm Jenna. I am literally somebody's daughter, somebody's, friend, somebody's sister. I'm not going to say I'm a regular woman, but I am a woman, that is inspiring to change the world and, to keep going, ultimately. So that's me. That's me. That's who I am.
And y'all, she's so humble and so beautiful. And I'm just like, girl, I'm looking at you like,
oh my God,
you're being very modest. Honey, you're being very modest.
Oh God. Oh my God, you're funny. You're hilarious. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. So we are redefining purpose, and as I was again making reference back to your interview, you talked about growing up and not having a relationship with your father. You talked about your relationship with your mother and your sister, and just some hard moments that you had in life. Can you talk a little bit about those things so that the viewers, because one thing again is this is a safe space, and I hate the misconception that life is perfect. It's like we know that it's not, but we still have this expectation or this unrealistic expectation that it's supposed to be.
Right.
And I love to share these stories because sometimes people can relate more to our insecurities than they can the successes. And I think when you're able to relate from that place of, wow, she overcame that, I'm going through this same thing. If she can overcome it, I can too. Right. So just give a little bit of your background story.
So, yes. Growing up, we can't choose our story, obviously. The story is already written. I grew up in a single parent household. My dad was involved, but he wasn't. We didn't really have like a really tight-knit relationship. And I think it was because, of the things that transpired in his life. He didn't really have a good relationship with his mom, and he didn't meet his parents until he was 31. Oh, it's crazy. I'm 30. So he didn't meet his parents until he was 31. And so I feel like there was just abandoned, like the way that and I guess it's more so like the way that you raise your kids, you try to do the best part that that you can do. So for me, it was just hard because he was around but wasn't around. And so we did not have a chance when I was younger to cultivate a relationship. And so when you get older, you start making your own decisions in life, and it makes things a lot more difficult than what they need to be. And we're still, like, when I say we're still working towards building a relationship and trying to have a relationship, because like I said, when I was younger, we didn't have that moment to build because, you know, of different circumstances. And, you know, even with and I tell people, like, I don't want to make it sound bad when you get older, you know, relationships and things shift, but they do with your parents. And my relationship with my mom has shifted. Like, my mom, I would say she's still my friend, but, you know, there are some things where I've just been like, oh, okay, I didn't notice this when I was younger. But
oh my gosh, I feel like that's something that happens like 29, 30-ish. It's like, you're like,
yeah.
Wait a minute, what?
Yeah.
Because I think you start doing some self-discovery, and you're like, where did this come from?
This is not it.
And then you're like, oh, it came from you. Okay.
Yeah. And then you have to, and see, it's hard because I'm like, ooh, sometimes I wish I was still young, because certain things I just wish that I just didn't know, you know? So our relationship has kind of shifted, but again, you know, we're trying to work to get back to that place where we used to be, because again, you know, I'm older, so there are different things that I don't agree with. And you know, it just comes with age. Like I said, you know, you start to see things that you're like, no, I didn't know you were like that, but okay. So for me, that relationship, like I said, both of my parents, like, I love them dearly, but again, you know, being in therapy and learning what are triggers, you know, parents can be triggers. Yeah. And so I'm just learning how to balance how to be a good daughter to my parents. Yeah. You know? In the relationship with my sister, she suffers from schizophrenia. When we were younger, we did not have the best relationship, but we're a lot more closer now than we were when I was younger. And even goes back to, like, parenting. The African American community, I felt like back then did not know how to handle mental illness when someone had a mental illness.
Yeah, for sure.
It was
I feel like we're getting to a better place.
Yes.
But there's still some areas where it's like, no, we have to do better. We really do.
And I think the way my mom kind of handled some things, I feel like I don't think that she had the advice that she needed to handle that. Yeah. So she didn't know how to handle it. Yeah. So the way that she handled it and went about it, it should have been a lot more different than the outcome. So me and my older sister, we are, you know, in a better place, you know, as far as our relationship. Because like I said, we're 10 years apart. So when my mom had me, she wasn't expecting that, you know, because again, like, her mom, pretty much my mom and her dad, they were married for about, I feel like they were married for a while, but they ended up getting a divorce due to infidelity. And, you know, that's hard. That can be a strain on a child. And just depending on the child. So it was a strain for her. And then, you know, your mom goes to get pregnant, and then, you know, here I am. That can be a lot on someone. So,
and then you're dealing with mental health
you're dealing
issues.
with a lot of mental health issues. And so I just feel like there were a lot of things that could have been different. But then also, I feel like it's beautiful because it's a part of my story. Yeah. Yeah.
And even as you're talking about all of these things, when you got older, did you at some point realize how these things affected you?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I feel like, I feel like when it comes to, and I can break it down, you know, when it comes down to my relationship with my mom now, it's a lot hard for me now to really, like, trust a lot of, like, new women that are, like, trying to come into my life, because I feel like, I don't know, I guess it's just one of those things where when someone shows you, you know, they don't show you from the beginning. It's like, oh, you know, this person is this way. But now it's different. For me, it's different now because it's like, ooh, I just wish that, you know, people can be who they really say that they are. And so it kind of puts a halt on me moving forward with people, because I feel like sometimes dang, they're gonna disappoint me like my mom did, because I didn't know that she was this type of person, but now that I know, now I know that she is this type of person. So it kind of, I have a wall kind of sort of up when it comes down to building new relationships with people, because I feel like they're gonna let me down. When it comes to my dad, again, I feel like I kind of suffer from some type of abandonment issues that I'm still trying to work through, and not take things personally. I take a lot personally that I should not take personal. And so I'm still navigating through that. And then with my sister, I feel like, not being ashamed. I feel like for a long time, I was ashamed to kind of like talk about her to people, because it was just like, oh, you tell somebody that your sister has schizophrenia, what are people gonna say about that? She's crazy, right?
Because you see stuff on TV,
right?
And unless you deal with it firsthand, you don't know, until it's someone that you love and you care about. You're comparing it on to stuff you see on TV,
right? So I just, like I said, I had to kind of release all of that and just say, okay, it is a part of my story, and it is a beautiful thing, more than it is a negative thing.
How important do you feel, because you said it's a part of your story, I think that is powerful, because a lot of times when it comes to, obviously we're redefining purpose, but when it comes to your purpose, again, you feel like, do I have to be perfect? I have all of these things, all of these experiences. For some, it might be trauma or different things that have happened to us, but we can't embrace it and say, it's a part of my story. How important is you being able to embrace your story? How important is that to finding your purpose, do you think?
I really firmly believe that your story is like a part of your story, your destiny. I really feel like that really collides with purpose, because I think that if I had not endured daddy issues, if I hadn't went through these boy problems, if I haven't went through, just different issues in my life, I wouldn't be where I am today. I feel like those are the things that really define your purpose, because at the end of the day, you are fighting every day. Every day you wake up, you're fighting for your purpose. And I really feel like a lot of times when it comes down to it, you can't be ashamed to tell people who you are. I always tell people I'm an open book, because I am, and I just really believe like the world would be so powerful if people were so real and transparent and authentic about who they really are.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Because I think there is so much more to people than what we see. Like, the glam and the beautiful photos. And
there's so much
so
more.
many things. So many things to people that we don't know because they're ashamed. And, I'm always like, okay, my testimony could save somebody. And, even in conversations that I have with certain girlfriends or different guy friends that I have in my life, I'll say something like, oh, you deal with that too? Like, you just never know how that can free a person.
Absolutely. Girl. No, I feel the same exact way, because that's why I even started a different definition. And going back to what I said earlier, your insecurities, it started with insecurities, but after the years of doing it, it's like people are dealing with more than just an insecurity. People, let's be real, they're dealing with traumatic situations. And that's why I realized I'm really passionate about the healing of people. And the rediscovery of people, because we walk around with this heavy spirit of shame, where we're so ashamed to say our truth. But oh my gosh, when we say it, it's like so freeing. Or to say it and you're not being judged. Instead, you're being embraced and you're giving resources, or you're finding a community to help you. And like you said, I feel like if the world was just more open.
Yes.
Of course, you don't want to just be out here telling your business. You have to make sure you find a safe space.
Yes.
Like Redefining the podcast.
Exactly.
Make sure you listen to us every Monday. I'm just playing.
Everybody, because to be honest with you, everybody's not ready for your story.
They're not, right?
They're not.
So
like,
you have to use discernment when
yes.
you don't be out here just telling your business now.
Exactly.
Yo, let me tell you something about my life.
No.
Ma'am, wait a second. But when you find that safe space and you're able to share,
yes,
it's therapeutic. That's even with therapy. That's why that's so important.
It is. It is.
But shifting gears a little bit, what do you find to be your purpose after enduring everything that you've endured and understanding your story? What do you find to be your purpose?
So my purpose is ultimately to help change the world and to inspire. And I always tell people I thrive off the 3 W's. You know, my purpose is wellness. Another one of the things that branch off of that will be writing. And the other thing is to help inspire women and like help them to push, you know, help push them into their purpose and to be their best selves, you know. I think us as women sometimes we get caught up with work. Some people that are parents, you know, they get caught up with being a mom, and that's okay. But I also feel like you have a purpose outside of that as well. Some people get caught up, you know, in being a wife, and yes, you know, you have.
Y'all, I'm acting up today. I'm sorry. Continue. It's not about
mercy. Listen, now she told me earlier. No, ma'am, you will not spoil that surprise.
For our listeners,
you
y'all,
will not spoil that surprise.
I just completely just showed my whole ring when she said caught up in being a wife. Because y'all are like, why are you laughing? Because you can't see.
And again, people, it's nothing wrong with being a wife, a mother, you know, being a professional. It's nothing wrong with that. Don't get me wrong. But you are on assignment on this earth to do something greater than those things.
Yes.
And so, you know, those things, I thrive off the 3 W's again. You know, wellness, you know, I can go on about wellness. My dad, when I was 9, he had a heart attack.
Wow.
And, you know, it's like, okay, I'm 9. So I'm like, okay, what's happening? Okay, my dad had a heart attack. Okay.
Right.
How did that, you know, because I know he was an accountant. He's retired now. But, yeah, like, had a heart attack. And then you start growing up, and then grandma got diabetes, high blood pressure.
Girl.
Your younger uncle has diabetes. He's blind because his kidneys are failing him. He died. You know, it's just so much. And so with wellness, I'm trying to break a generational curse. And that's that on that. What people say, what the young people say. That's that. I'm trying to break generational curses, you know, with my bloodline, because so many people have died prematurely, you know. And so for me, I have to take care of myself, mind, body, and soul. And that's so important to me. So wellness, you know, writing, I have a project coming out. I have a project coming out.
Talk about it.
So I just wrote my first children's book, and it has been a process. And you know, it's so humbling to have an opportunity to have written a children's book and to just have went through the process. I'm self-published. And
congratulations.
Thank you.
You're welcome. That's so exciting.
I know. It's still fresh. It's fresh for me because, you know, when I told the people that were super close to me, of course, I told them first. I was like, "Hey, y'all, it's done. The book is done."
Yes.
They were so emotional, and I was just like, "What?"
Probably because they sit so close to you and they see how hard you work. They know you inside and out. So for them, it's like, yes.
I was just like, okay, I'm not emotional yet. I have a lot more work to do with this. Yeah, okay.
This is just the beginning.
Right. So, and even drawing back to writing, like a lot of people don't know this about me. I can actually sing. So, but I put that on the back burner. I put it on the back burner when I was younger because I enjoyed dancing. And one day I was just like, "Oh, I'm gonna be like a professional dancer." Like I was in dance class. Like
let me find out Jenna does all the things because none of this was in her bio.
Oh yeah,
none of this.
I'm sorry. But anyway. So I want to.
But she understands her purpose.
Yeah.
So she knows that Lord is not a part of what you have called me to do. So I don't need to be trying to push.
I don't need to be out here trying to be an artist.
Right.
Because at one point I wanted to be an artist, but I really enjoy music. So I want to get back into the venues after this book drop. I want to connect with people and start writing music for other people.
Amazing.
That's just what I aspired to do. For as far as the writing part, because I want to write like a plethora of worship songs. I want to work with different artists. So that's just something that I'm trying to put in the works. But it'll happen at the time. Yeah.
I think that's beautiful, and you can always tell when someone has found their purpose. Mm-hmm. And this is something I realized early on is their purpose and their passion, because they get so excited to talk about it. And they light up and they know about it and they can speak on it confidently. And so I just think that's so beautiful. And I think it's amazing that even though you had all of these things that were thrown at you through life, you were still able to say, okay, this is what I want to do.
Yes.
And you positioned yourself to be able to do those things.
Yeah.
So, shifting gears a little bit again. I love that. I feel so cool when I say shifting gears. Shifting gears. I need to find a new transition.
Yes, but I love it.
Thank you. Girl. So, shifting gears. So, in 2016, you lost your friend.
I see it. Ooh.
And I know even in this year, there's been so much death. There's been so many things that have been thrown at us that have just been like, it's knocked you out of your socks.
Yeah.
And there's people who are listening now who have dealt with things that are hard, and even within finding purpose, it's like, how do you bounce back from that?
Yeah.
So can we talk about that a little bit?
Yeah,
just
definitely.
How you were, where you were in your life at that time, and how you were able to heal and come out of that and still push forward.
Right. So in 2016, I feel like that was a very, I feel like I was just living my life like tossed to and fro. Like I was working so many jobs, y'all. And I was not happy. Was not in a good space. I wasn't a good friend at that time.
Come on, honesty.
I was not a good friend. I probably was not a good daughter at that time either. So one day, and I tell people this story all the time, like one day, on a regular day, not, mind you, I had just, that day before, I had just went into a job interview for like my first big girl job.
Yes.
And so I was just like, okay. And so the interview went well. They emailed me back the same day or something. It was somewhere in between, in that whole week, like that, and I remember that whole entire week, girl, I could not sleep. I was like, I ain't never been like this, like, I get my sleep.
Right.
So I just felt like God was literally preparing me for something. Yeah. Because I'm just like tossing and turning, and then we were going through the election for for the person that is around the country. But he about to go. But anyway. So listen. She's like, he got fired. But anyway.
Sips tea.
Listen. So it was like God was like trying to tell me something, and I was just like, whatever. So I remember that Thursday, I went to go pick up, like, I had to do some paperwork for the job. And it was weird. I don't know. I was walking, and I went to Kill Me Crazy. I was walking there, it was just weird. It was weird. I
You
felt like
it.
something was happening, and I could not shake it. And it was not, and it was, when I say it was super weird, that Thursday was when everything was happening to her. When I laid down that Thursday night, literally I slept like a baby. It was crazy. And it was crazy. And I just remember my alarm, because I set my alarm at the job I had at the time. I had to be up at a certain time. I set my alarm for 7:15. And so my alarm went off. So I pressed snooze, but something on the inside of me, which is the Holy Spirit, was like, pick that phone back up. And so I'm sleepy. So like, you know, your eyes are like, okay.
Yeah.
So I'm looking, and somebody was like, sorry for your loss. And at that time, a group of friends that I went to college with, we had like a friends group text, and these are like my close girls from college. Like, we're still close.
Yeah.
And they were like, sorry for your loss. I'm sorry, Jenna. I'm like, what are y'all talking about? I was like, my grandma passed away a long time ago. Okay, y'all?
Why are y'all talking to me about this?
So I looked and I said, huh? And so immediately I go to Facebook and I look at my friend Taylor's brother's Facebook post, and I'm like, what? And I knew that her birthday was coming up and she was about to turn 25, which was the day, you know, that, you know, pretty much she, okay, let me finish the story. So she, pretty much, yeah, so he had this message, and I was like, what is he talking about?
Yeah.
So I'm like, at this point, I'm numb, and then I called one of my friends that sent me the message, and I was like, what happened? And this is when I'm getting frantic. I'm like, something's not, you know, it's just not making any sense. I promise you, I blacked out.
Oh, wow.
I blacked out, and it was like, I don't know what happened. All I know was I was just in tears. I was crying. I couldn't understand. It was hard, and I was like, whoo, what just happened? It was like something had knocked the life out of me. Wow. And I just was like, what in the world? Like, in my head, I'm just like, ooh. I just started thinking about so many things. I'm just like, what? Who? Are y'all sure? Like, is this the right person? Yeah. So, yeah, that was just so tough. I don't ever want anybody to experience that type of pain. Yeah. It was so sudden.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like she was sick. It wasn't like she was in a car accident. This was just a tragic thing that happened to her. Mm-hmm. You know, she was doing something she loved. She traveled, you know, she loved to travel. She was a news anchor, and she just so happens to be, you know, hiking with a friend, and things just went, you know, as far as like how it happened, you know, she ended up slipping and falling. Oh, no. And, you know, from there, you know, she ended up drowning. And so it was just so hard to just even hear that, because I was just like, what? So, you know, even with the person that was with her, I could not imagine how traumatic that was for her to have been there and have experienced. But it was so hard on me. It took a while to get through that, you know? Yeah. Because again, like, me and her, a lot of people don't know this, and some people know, but me and her didn't speak we hadn't spoken 6 years. Wow. So that was a lot on me, because it was me. Yeah. And I tell people, you know, now that I got some sense, because I feel like I didn't have no sense back then. Mm-hmm. Now that I have sense, I realize how important it is to work things out with people, and how important it is to forgive people. Yeah. Even, you know, with the smallest things that you deal with and go through with people, forgive them. Mm-hmm. Because tomorrow is not promised. And I used to hate when people say that tomorrow's not promised, but I understand what that looks like, you know, from a standpoint.
Girl, about to make me cry.
I understand what that looks like. Yeah. So when, you know, losing her was just, it was hard. It was so hard. So, yeah.
from that moment, did it cause you to, and it's so funny because I had a whole falling out with my best friend.
Oh no.
So like we haven't really spoken.
Girl,
so that's why I'm like,
oh my God.
Let me get this together. Y'all, we over here crying.
Work that out.
Work it out, sis. This is the Lord coming to tell you right now. Work it out, sis.
Work it out. Okay. It's not that serious.
Yeah.
I wish somebody told me that. Girl.
Yeah. At what point did you have to realize, like, I don't even know how, girl, I'll be right back. I gotta get her tissue. I can't just have her here. I can't have her in here crying, girl.
I didn't think I was gonna cry. I was trying.
It's okay.
Mm.
Look, this is a safe space. This is a safe space.
I literally was like, I'ma chill on the tears.
No, because that's such a hard thing, and it's already hard to lose someone.
Yeah,
I can imagine, but when you're in a place where you're not okay with them, plus you're in a place where you're not even okay with yourself in that moment.
Lord have mercy.
How much reflection did you experience during that time?
So, I tell people, I feel like it was so dark for me after everything was over. Meaning, I went to her parents' house the day after, her passing, and it was hard because we had experienced Thanksgiving, after Thanksgiving, because we were kids. We used to love, like, literally, when you would see her, you would see me, because we grew up in the church. So, literally, that's all we kind of knew.
Yeah.
And so, we just grew up together. We ended up going to the same college and stuff like that. So, it was tough because you're in an environment, but she's not there. And so, for me, I think what really resonated with me was that she was really gone and she wasn't here.
Yeah.
And also, it was like, when when I saw her, laying in her, the state that she was in, because I don't like saying laying in I'm really scary, y'all, like, for real. I'm sorry. But just seeing her lying there, I was like, wow, I didn't get a chance. I had the chance, because it's like, oh my God, you always think, because we had a falling out. I'm going to be real. We had a falling out, but it was stupid. Yeah. You look back and you're like, we was stupid, we was young, but this was someone that I called my family, and I just felt I felt guilty. I'm being honest. I felt so guilty. I was just like, why was I like this? And so, it caused me to really just have a reality check. I wasn't as good of a friend as I thought I was. Yeah. And I think that has really helped me to become a better friend to people. That situation, not taking people for granted, and not treating people less than, because I feel like a lot of times, when you tell your friends and stuff something, something that you're dealing with or something that you're going through, a lot of times we tend to kind of belittle them a little bit, because we may feel like, I would never do anything like that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Learning how to give people grace, because God gives us grace daily. Girl. And so for me, like I said, it was a wake-up call. I was like, whoa. And it was like, in a sense, it's still shocking, because I can't believe it, because I firmly believe that she had so much more to do, but I do believe that her assignment was done. Yeah. Because she fulfilled everything that she was supposed to fulfill here on earth. And we'll probably never, no one will probably ever know why she needed to go back to the Father. Yeah. But at the end of the day, she did what she was supposed to do.
Has that experience in your life propelled you, or did it create a pathway to help you better understand your purpose.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
I remember when I was at her service, and it was a moment in her service where I just kind of like got away from the crowd of people sitting. And I always thought, it's so funny how I always be like, New Birth was my church. So I could just do whatever I wanted to do. So like
you built the church.
Yeah,
your name was
I
on the title.
built the church. I wrote a prayer underneath that carpet. Listen, okay. But no, her uncle did end up doing her service because at that time, the pastor of the church, he was dealing with his own stuff, and that was kind of that was a lot too, because I was like, oof, okay, just losing a friend, and you find out, ooh, okay,
that was a lot.
That was a lot.
Yeah.
So her uncle ended up doing her service, and he was talking about, you know, all the things that she was, you know, that she fulfilled and that she did, and it was so crazy how, like, I was like, wow, I hate to say this, but God orchestrated everything.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, okay, it makes sense now. And it just really like resonated with me while I was sitting in the back by myself. I said, I need to be doing more. Like, what am I doing? She was doing so much.
Yeah.
She was doing so much. Like, she was a news anchor. You know, she was going to be opening up her own food truck, you know. She was getting ready to kind of branch out into, you know, like the world of, you know, journalism. Like, she was getting ready to get a really, really good job. And it was just like, okay, all of this was, you know, snatched up because the father needed her back for something. And so for me, it just sat with me. I'm not doing enough.
Yeah.
I'm not doing enough, and I need to be doing more. And in that moment, I was like, I have to figure out what it is God has placed me on this earth to do.
Yeah. How important is your relationship? Because you, like myself, are believers. And so we both have a relationship with God. So how important is it to have that relationship and that foundation in understanding what your purpose is?
So, you know, I always tell people it's not an overnight thing. Like, you really, really have to search deep. Like, you have to be like, okay, God, like, what is it that reveal to me what am I supposed to be doing? Yeah. Who am I? First of all, you have to really know who you are first, so that you can know exactly what he's calling you to do. And so for me, I feel like you have to have God, because he's the one that guides you through every step that you take, you know, once you figure out what it is your purpose is. Yeah. And so for me, I would have to say, you know, he literally connects you. He gives you the tools that you need. Yeah. And everything like that. You know, so that's why my relationship with God, I don't have my relationship with God because, you know, it's a good thing to do. My relationship with God is because I know what he's literally brought me through. I know, you know, that God is real. Yeah. And I know what he's capable of. Yeah. So for me, like, you know, being his daughter, listen, it's the best thing. The best. It's the best thing. It's the best. It's the best thing, y'all. Like, I've seen, listen, it gives you a different level of confidence. It does. It gives you it really, for me, and that's what I always tell people, like, you're gonna always know that I'm a lover of Christ. Like, you ain't never gotta, like, yes, I know people see me on social media, you know, people, you know, because people like, oh, you know, Christians shouldn't drink, and I'm like, okay, listen, I'm gonna have my glass of wine. The Bible did not say that we could not have fun, but we should do things in decency and in order.
Praise God. I may wine come soon.
Listen, And it's so hard because I tell people I'm about the relationship. And you know, growing up, it was more so everybody was about the religion. And I mean, I read my word, but I'm about my relationship with him. You know, he did so much for me. God has done so much for me, y'all.
Yeah.
Okay, listen, and he's still doing some things for
It's
me.
really sad that people think Christians are just these holy art thou, judgmental, crazy people. Listen. But it's like, no, we just have an understanding, like you said, relationship.
Yes.
And the covering of God, you know, it's really powerful. And we're cool. Like, we're mad cool. Okay. I mean, look at us.
Listen, isn't she beautiful?
We're beautiful.
Right.
Do you not see this beauty? And we're not perfect.
Not.
Either.
Okay.
Like, that's the thing. We're not perfect, but when you have God in your life, it removes that shame.
Yes.
So it's easier to walk with your head held high, knowing I've been through this, but thank God for his grace.
Right.
And even though my purpose is here in front of me, thank God for him, because he's walking me through to accomplish and fulfill this purpose.
Right.
Even though I have all of these things. I was talking earlier. I previously recorded the beginning of the episode, but I was talking about our portion and how our portions are different. And sometimes, you know, if I was to sit here and compare my portion to yours and be mad, like, well, how come she got more? I want more. So you see someone with more food on their plate and you mad because you don't have as much. But it's like, first of all, are you sure you're going to eat that much? Because if you're a smaller person, maybe your body can't take all that food. They need this food because that's what they need. And so that's just an analogy, but think about life. Like, we start comparing situations. I can't say that I want to experience the loss of a friend.
Right. Yeah.
That way. Because I can only imagine that it's so painful. But that is your portion, and God knew that that's something that he can trust you with. He knew that it was something that you could carry, and he knew it was something that you needed in that season of your life to get you to see your purpose. And whatever I've experienced in my life, he can trust me with it. So being able to shift the narrative of what we go through and understand that God is not going to give you, literally not going to give you more than you can handle.
Right. Yeah.
He's not going to break you. He's not going to put you in this crazy predicament just to be like, told you couldn't do it.
No.
And leave you for dead.
No. And that's the thing too. Every situation that you go through in life, it really prepares you for your next level. And also, everything that you go through, you should get something out of that. Which is a lesson. Unforgiveness is so bad. I know, like, Mike Todd is talking about that right now. Unforgiveness. But forgive people, you know. Give people grace. Give people time. And make things right with people, you know. That right there, like, when I say I literally had to go to therapy because I had a traumatic disorder. Because, you know, after that experience, it's like every time someone calls you, you think it's something bad.
Wow.
And so it really, like, you know, broke me, y'all. Like, I tell people all the time, like, oh, I never thought in a million years I would be bearing a friend. But here I was, you know, going through this. And again, like you were saying, the weight. Everybody, you know, and your portion. Being okay with your portion. Be okay with your portion. And be careful of the prayers that you pray. Because you have to be ready to handle those things, you know, that you're asking God to give you. Because it may come with something else. You know, so.
That's good. That's good, y'all.
Yeah, it is. Good. Listen, it still preaches. It still preaches. It still preaches, for real.
So, switching gears. Y'all, I'm too silly. Jenna has made me feel so comfortable in my own home. I'm just like, yes. You know, you can't just invite anybody to your house. But I could tell her spirit was pure. I was like, she could come. I told my sister, can you ask her if she feels comfortable? Especially with COVID, child.
My heart. I feel, wow, that made me feel so
yes,
warm.
Girl, your spirit is just so,
Thank you.
It's good.
Y'all.
It's real good.
Thank you.
But, switching gears, like I was saying, you started something called At the Table. And I believe that is so beautiful. And it's so in alignment with your purpose.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about At the Table?
Yes.
Look, she just smiles so big.
Because I miss it. Because COVID, I had a lot of good things. I tell people I turned 30. Well, I turned 30 last December. And
really coming up quick.
Yeah, I will be 31 next month.
Yes.
It's so crazy. I'm like, what?
31 is great.
I don't look it, but let me tell y'all something.
I feel it, Lord.
You feel every ounce of you feel it, okay?
I had to go up a size. I was like, I don't know if this is COVID weight or love weight.
Wait
or
a
what.
minute.
These clothes ain't fit the same way at 31. I need to go up a size so these clothes can fit better. No.
What did I say? Oh God. So I was like, I had big plans this year for At the Table. But God was like, girl.
He shut everybody's plans.
He shut it. He was like,
oh, that's real cute, but no.
Shut it down. Right. He was like, ooh, okay.
That's what you think that's what you gonna do?
Okay.
That's cute.
Nah.
No.
It didn't work.
Right.
So, I had big plans because, let me explain what the At the Table is. So At the Table is an environment for women to gather together. It is a safe space where we talk about social issues, where we talk about mental health issues, where we talk about our issues, problems. And then also, we talk about God as well, because we want to invite him in wherever we are. Because I don't want people to ever get it twisted. Like, whenever I'm doing something, it's in the glory of the Lord. I'm not trying to, because it's not for me.
Yeah.
It's like, even with this book, it's not about me.
Yeah.
Everything that I do, it comes from God.
Yeah.
It doesn't come from me. And so I don't like praise that often, because I think that it takes away from the person that should be getting it,
Yeah.
And we, so yeah. So At the Table, like I said, is a safe place for women to connect, to meet, to network, to come together, and if you just so happen to be someone that's new in Atlanta, you can meet someone. It's to help cultivate women and have healthy relationships with one another.
Yeah.
Because I think within our community, a lot of us have not seen what healthy relationships with other women look like.
Yeah.
I always tell people, you can tell a person and who they are, by the way that they treat other people.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of times, us as women, we're petty. Let's just talk about it. We're petty.
Child, we be so petty.
We be in competition with each other. Let's call it what it is. And, I just believe in healthy friendships. I believe in healthy relationships. And so I like to see women thrive, in their environments. And I feel like the people that you are connected to have a lot to do with, where you're going and the person that you're becoming.
Yeah, absolutely. You said something in your interview, Voyage ATL. Let me grab my phone. I'm looking, I'm like, oh, my phone is across the room. Y'all, I put my phone across the room. But no, I actually wrote it down because I said, wow, that's real. You said, I feel like when you are struggling, people are attracted to you more than when you are actually moving in the things that God has for you. Was that, and I saw even with your explanation about At the Table, that it's a place to build friendships. Like if you're in a place where you're lacking healthy friendships, and when you said that, I was like, wow, that's very true. Is that also another reason why At the Table was built? Because you felt like it was hard just to find people to support you. Yeah.
And the thing is, a lot of people don't, and I think people should talk more about this when you're transitioning out of one space to another. So like when you're transitioning out of college, you're used to being around those people every day, all the time. You enter space, like no one prepares you for the transition from college to adulthood, for real.
Yeah.
Because you think you've grown in college, but you're not grown.
At all.
You still, right. So nobody prepares you for that.
Yeah.
And so my friends, most of my friends that I met, they were, you know, friends from Columbus. I have friends living in Gwinnett. I'm in Atlanta. So, you know, again, like I said, and we're grown. We're, you know, we're having to be pushed into adulthood. And so we have our different focuses that we have to focus on. And so again, I didn't have friends that I could, like, you know, reach out to as far as like, oh, hey, let's go hang out, da da da. So I was just like, oh, what happens if I create something where women can really connect? And again, like, you know, and I tell people this too, like, I've had people in my life that have connected, and, you know, I've connected with them, and we may not have hit it off in the midst, because sometimes you're not going to connect with everybody, but they may connect with somebody else, and that's fine.
The purpose,
right? So for me, I felt like, I just felt like it kind of just brought like a happiness to me, because I'm like, hey, you know, a lot of people move here, and they don't have, like, you know, they don't have an outlet, they don't have an environment, you know, to like, they don't have that. Because even like with this one girl that I invited to at the table to be a speaker, like, you know, she moved here, she had a boyfriend, you know, and she had a little bit amount of friends, but she did not have like a full environment, a core group of people. So just to see her now flourishing with those people that she met from, you know, at the table, that really speaks volumes to me, because I'm like, hey, like, listen, I'm helping people build friendships out here. Hello. And even if we're not friends, listen, it's a beautiful thing.
And I just want to say, as you were talking, I'm like, it's those moments right there. You know, this podcast is a baby. It's still a baby. And, you know, I'm almost at 1,000 plays, and I'm just like so happy about that. And I'm like, it might be so small to someone else, but when it's like, when your purpose, you can physically see your purpose being fulfilled, and knowing that every Monday there are people who come back to listen every Monday, and they're touched and they're moved. You have a room full of women who are coming together because you're being obedient to what your purpose was, and you're fulfilling that purpose.
Right.
And now you get to see the manifestation of that. You know, you get to see everything coming into fruition and say, wow, they're still friends. Like, it's working.
Right.
That is purpose being fulfilled.
It is.
And I just want to kill this perception that in order for it to mean your purpose has been fulfilled, you have to be on this huge platform or have 1 million followers or 1 million views and all of this extravagant stuff. When it's like, no, that's not it.
That's
like,
not it.
That is not it. It's all about you just going through life daily, just making sure that you're being a light, making sure that you're being honest, that you're speaking when the Holy Spirit tells you to speak.
Yes.
And you are just shining your light, you know, and you're being obedient to the call on your life, you know. That's what purpose is about, for real. So,
like
I'm
you were
excited
saying,
for you.
thank you. Like you were saying something that really just spoke to me, because you know how you know, we're in a world now of influencers and stuff like that, and the world is just watching. The world is watching. And like this scripture, you know, came in my head. Like, you know, what does it mean for a man, you know, to gain the whole world and he loses his soul? I really just be like, listen, if I can inspire 4 people, I am okay with that. Because I just, you know, you just see so many people that, you know, will sell their soul, that will change who they are, like, you know, just for a like. That is just temporary. An app is temporary because you can delete an app. But your soul, you know?
That's real. That's real. I have a tattoo right here, and it's a 5 and a 2, and it represents 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish. Because it was a reminder when I was doing my events, and sometimes it would be discouraging because it's like, man, I want more people there. And God, he was just like, if I can't trust you with the 15 people that you have, how do you think I'm going to trust you with 1,500?
Listen.
So I need you to be happy with the few so that I could bless you with the many. Because do not be misled realize I fed 5,000 with 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish.
Yes.
So those 15 people in the room, they're going to go out and feed a multitude.
Listen.
But if you don't have good stewardship or you cancel it, right?
Yeah.
You feel like, well, not enough people came. That's 15 opportunities for you to get your word out, and you just gave it up. So this is just encouragement to everyone listening and watching. Do not be moved by the numbers.
Don't.
There is more opportunity for you to have purpose in life than just social media, than just on your phones, on your computer, whatever. Like, you have opportunity every single day to push your purpose.
You do.
Every day. This has been an amazing conversation.
Yes.
Let the world know what you have coming up about your book. Let them know where they can find you, where they can reach out to you.
So yes, so my book is dropping in December. And again, like, I just want to be completely honest with you guys. There are just some different things, and not logistics, but just some different things that I'm still working out with it. So I don't have an actual set date, but you will know. You will know.
So that means y'all need to follow her.
Yes, follow me on Instagram. It's JEN_CAVALLI. And you can find me there. And of course, my website will be dropping the same day as the book. So like, everything is going to be launching in one day. Again, I don't have a date for it.
It's okay. It's all right. It's all right.
I'm sorry.
Grace has been given.
Listen, like, for real, like I said, this experience has been so humbling, and I'm grateful that God chose me to and push this out of me, actually, because it had been sitting and in process and stuff like that. I'm just grateful each and every day. Just grateful.
Well, I'm grateful that you came and that you were open to sharing your story with us.
Yes.
You had us laughing and crying and reflecting, y'all. And so I hope that you all were blessed by this interview as well. So again, make sure that you follow Jenna. All of her information will be in the notes section, as well as just some ways that you can also redefine purpose in your life. We'll have her 3 W's in there too, okay? Because we want to make sure that you guys leave equipped to get through the week redefining your purpose. So thanks, girl.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. Oh, my heart is so full.
See y'all, or talk to y'all next Monday. Bye.